for anyone else to join the call, and then we'll start at exactly 10:02. Yeah, I think we should start. Okay, good morning, everyone. I think we are going morning. So yeah, thanks for joining us for the May release, the 2021 May release of Qlik Sense, by myself and Oba. Just a little bit of housekeeping rules. Please make sure that your mics are muted throughout the webinar, and yeah, we'll answer any questions at the end. So from our side, I'm Matthew Probler, and this is Oba Dunsi. You guys can reach out to us if you want to on at ricconsulting.co.za or at dunsi@ricconsulting.co.za, or reach out to us on LinkedIn. And if you have any other queries, you can send an email to info@ricconsulting.co.za. And yeah, again, please, can we just mute the mics? And also this webinar will be recorded because so people can view it at a later stage. So yeah, without further ado, we'll start the webinar. Let me present my screen. Is everyone able to see the screen? Can we just get a confirmation on that, please?
Yep. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So like Matt said, in this webinar, we'll be discussing the 2021 May releases, but we'll also be discussing released in February, but went unnoticed in the meantime. The way we'll be breaking up the structure is basically we'll be putting it into 4 parts. So Matt will be going through SaaS and the connections. I'll be helping with the visualizations, and lastly will just be the script and chart functions that we'll go through as well. And then we'll just leaving questions for the end of the session. So just hold your questions in the meantime. Write them down, keep them in your head until then. And then without further ado,
okay, so we'll get a quick one out the way, and that is the 2 new data connections that were released in this May 2021 release, and that is Azure Synapse and Databricks. So we just want to briefly bring this to light so that you know that these connections are now available. Databricks is obviously a strategic partner for Qlik Sense, and now you can do your end-to-end integration with any sort of Databricks environment, which is which is very useful. And then the Azure Synapse, you can connect into that. We haven't had any use cases for it, so we just wanted to bring it to light. Everyone will have access to this app, so you can just select on the image and it will take you to where you can just essentially go and investigate. But if you do need to have this connection and you do have any issues, please feel free to just send us an email, and we will have no problem assisting you with that. So yeah, those are the 2 new connections, and they're growing the number of connections that you can connect to every release, which is very nice. After that, we would like to go and talk about 3 functions that were released. Now, these functions in the Feb 2021 release, but I'm not sure how much of the limelight they got, and I do think that they are important. So I do want to cover them quickly. And the first one I want to cover is the coalesce function. So if you have a SQL background, you're very familiar with this function, and you must probably ask yourself, how come this wasn't already in Qlik Sense? What took so long? Essentially, what we would have done in the past was a nested if statement. If something's null, go on to the next one. What the coalesce does is it returns the first non-null in the expression, or the first non-null expression. So I want to quickly just show you an example of that in our data. And we have done it here with our products. So we've got a product name and a product description. What we've done is you can now just coalesce and enter in an expression, so description or product. If description is null, it will then return the product. Just to give you a quick view of what that looks like, I can show you here. So as you can see, we have we have a product, we have a description, and then I have my description 2, which I've coalesced, right? So as you can see, we've got 2 null values. So what it does is it goes in and looks for product to see if it can find a value, and then it will return the first non-null value. Again, this is a very common function in SQL, and many people are very familiar with it. So yeah, it's nice now that we at least have it in Qlik Sense, and it can be used in the front end or the back end. The second one I want to talk about is a function called empty is null, and that's for identifying any empty strings. Now, if let's just say, or for the example that we're going to do today, I've got a cell phone number and I want to get rid of any characters that are not meant to be in that cell phone number. So for example, if somebody inputs data with a dash or a bracket or a space, let's just say I want to purge those characters. If there aren't any characters left, what will happen is your string. Now the issue with an empty string is you can still count it. So here is the example. As you can see, I've got employees and I've got the different cell phone numbers. Now, let's just say somebody didn't put in their cell phone number at all, and there's just open brackets, and that's what they submitted. If I were to purge those characters and all I want is the cell phone number, I'll still be left with 100% density, even though those numbers, those 2 columns or those 2 rows are empty. The empty is null function identifies that there's nothing that exists here, and it will return a null value, and that way you can get a 75% density, which will then be the correct number of strings in that field. So yes, those are the 2 functions that I want to talk about, but over to Oba.
So the last function Matt left for me to discuss was Levenstein disk. And essentially the way it works is it identifies the number of single character changes that have to be made in terms of insertions, deletions, and substitutions between 2 strings, for a good comparison, and it just spits out a number, and then spits out an integer. So we put a mathematical representation here for you, for you guys to see, for our math gurus who are interested.
Are you going to explain that to us?
I'm not so easy.
Just explain it to the. I think the audience want to.
No,
hear.
it's easy. There's just not enough time.
Not enough time.
This meeting. So, I'll just give you a quick example here. As you can see, there's a very large difference between these two strings here, and you can see because the Levenstein disk function here reflects that there are 29 deletions, insertions, or substitutions that you have to make between the one string and the other for them to be similar. And if I scroll down here, where Levenstein disk is 0, you can see that the two strings match perfectly. And where you have here a Levenstein disk of 12, you can see that there are a lot of similarities between these two strings in terms of the PO box road. But in the end, the 12 insertions, deletions, and substitutions I have to make are basically within these substrings in here. And this is very important in terms of data quality. You can test consistency and accuracy. You can use it for duplication and unlinking of data sets. So this is a very nice functionality that we have now in Qlik Sense that we're very happy to have.
Yeah, definitely. I think that there will be in terms of data quality and checking your data, it's a very nice function.
Oh, exactly.
I wouldn't like to have to script that manually to try and figure out.
Yeah, it definitely helps. Even spacings as well. It helps you identify if there's a spacing. Even if the string is exactly the same and you can't even see the spacing, at least it lets you know that these strings are not exactly similar. So it helps you identify things that you might miss. Then I'll just be going quickly to the video chart. And initially, we had to basically select a link to watch videos. So we just put a link inside the app, and it would take us to a link to watch a video. And what they've done now in this version is to have the video embedded within the app, as you can see here. And our users are able to play the app and watch videos. And this is honestly, I think it is brilliant because you can now basically teach your users about the app or how to use the app, before they even use it. You can just have it right there in the front page that this is how to use it. They watch a video and you reduce the amount of questions and feedback that you will get in the long run.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's a brilliant feature, and you can show a general app overview. Mm-hmm. And then if there are any other questions, then they can contact you.
Yeah, exactly.
It will reduce the number of issues that you have to deal with in terms of explaining the data.
Yeah, it basically helps your user and understand much easier. Then I'll just be discussing the combo chart. So the new functionality within the combo chart that they added was the ability to add reference lines to dimensions and to the measures. And I'll just give a brief example here. I think you can see this winter sale, for instance. So we put this here, so now our users can know, okay, this is when a period started, or this is when a period ended. And I'll just very quickly show you guys how we did it. And I think I will do it with the autumn sale. So this functionality is within the add-ons in the combo chart, and you can just go to your dimensional reference lines. I'll just delete this quickly. And then just show you guys how we did it. So let's re-add, one spring, for instance, spring. So, and then we just use the function there. So remember, this is our reference function. So we have to make it a date for the dimension. Spring is when?
September. The first year.
There we go. And then when we apply it, I think we have to scroll. Let me change that. Just excuse me, guys. I'm in I think I'm way ahead of everyone else in terms of the year. There we go. Okay, so there we are. So now we have, now the spring sale was certain season, something started within this period. We now have the ability to edit, the value as we see. If we want to show the value or not, if we want to show the label or not, we can change our solid line to a dashed line. We can color the background if we please, and on and on. And as for the measure reference line, we can now put like a single number or a digit. There we go. We can just put our target and put the reference line expression as the value that we want it to be. The other functionality that they added to the combo chart is now the ability to turn it sideways, so horizontally. And this is very good, categorization, on the left-hand side there, which is brilliant because mostly we use the normal combo charts for your dates and timelines. And you can also put in targets as well. So over time, even if this value hasn't reached, or any of these categories here haven't reached, our 60% of 300,000 Rand line, with time as the app continues updates, when it does reach, you can say, okay, there's a show condition. So show if, a certain category has surpassed 300,000. C'est la vie. So I'll just go over to Matt and to discuss a few more visualizations.
And I think what's nice is the combo chart, everyone wanted to use it, but it didn't have the same capabilities as a bar or line chart.
Yeah.
So you couldn't add reference lines, you couldn't change it to a horizontal combo chart. And what's nice is now the combo chart has inherited all those capabilities and just made it more usable. And I definitely think it's a big plus. So the next one that I want to talk about, right? So this is not the most elegant or innovative function that was released in the May 2020, the 2021 release, but I do think it will have its admirers. So as you can see, when we select any sort of chart, we get a coordinate and we get a dimension table. You can't edit it or anything, but it just gives you a visual representation of what your box looks like. So in my head, I was thinking, okay, where would I use this? How would it be applicable? And one thing I thought of is often we'll have a whole bunch of KPIs going across. Let's just say 10 or 15 KPIs. And once we reduce the size of these grids, we often have to size them the same size. And that thing we do by seeing. What's nice now is we get a quick glance, we can see, okay, 5 by 2, 5 by 2, and we can just automatically see, okay, our blocks are exactly the same size. Now, I know there are people that this will make them very happy, and just because they like that level of order. So yeah, that is one of the new functions of this release, and yeah, you'll be able to see it as soon as you update. Every chart has its own dimension, so it will just help with the design and the layout of your sheet. Yeah. And then what we also wanted to do is we wanted to talk about two visualizations that kind of went a little bit released in previous editions, but we thought let's just bring them to light and show you a little bit about how we structure the data behind it and where it's useful. And I think these charts are very useful because we're almost stepping away from just always measuring performance, where now we can actually measure our organization and start tracking our organization. So with that, we're going to look at the org chart. And this chart essentially shows the structure of the organization. Okay. Just get okay. So now here we can see our organization and the number of people that report to a certain person. And what we can do is we can go down, and as we can see, we have the 2 managers of specific regions, and then we can see our sales reps, how they're performing. And this is, you can interact with this. So if I wanted to see this, how Sally Bean performed, then we can select her, and then in terms of that selection, you can also select a manager, and all the nodes underneath it will be selected. So how's this person, how the people that reporting to this person are performing, and we can see that in the visualization. The only tricky thing with this is that you have to create your data, a hierarchical data structure. So what I want to do is just quickly show you what that looks like. So if we were going to look at the employee have a node of an employee or an ID of an employee and who the manager is. It can be named many different things like a child node and a parent node, or something like what I like to use as an employee ID and then almost a report to. And as you can see, the top layer being the CEO must be a null value. So it doesn't, or he doesn't report to anyone. And then if everyone else underneath them has to report to a specific person. So as you can see, A101 will be the CEO, and these people report to that CEO. This is a hierarchy structure that needs to be followed for it to work in the front end. And yeah, as you can see now, everything's linked up perfectly. You can see track performance of certain people and how they're performing. Okay, now over to Oba.
So I'll just be talking about the last visualization that we have here, which is the network chart. And as I think as Matt showed previously, it's basically use the exact same type of data structure in which you have a node ID and a parent ID that must be matched to the node ID for your smaller elements. So the network chart basically is also very good for operations. And the sample we used here is company location. A company shipping to rather several countries. So, we have a country that is, and we're assuming, okay, our company is located in South Africa. They have a local hub, a North America hub, a Europe hub, South America, and on and on. And basically, it's the darker lines, as you can see here, refer to the number of orders that, that are going to this hub. And from this hub, the Asia hub to, to Saudi Arabia, and the size of this end node itself is in regards to, so what is the cost, of that sale that is going to this country? So you can track it, you can see what, in case like there's fraud, you have Southern Cape, for instance, why would we have anything going to the Southern Cape? Really look into that. And then I think just another one is, even in Asia, I think Uzbekistan as well, that's a legitimate country. So, and that's about it. Yeah,
it's completely interactive. So we'll select a certain hub.
Yeah,
everything will reflect in
yeah. So let's say we've selected this hub, for instance. So we know exactly in this hub we can analyze, as its own entity to see, okay, when exactly. I mean, what are the dimensions, the categories of products that they've been selling, how they've been performing, on a timeline, a daily grade, how they've been performing. And, you can do that as well. You can even see, okay, if you select codes, for instance, the network chart changes to show you what countries have the most, sales in terms of the size of the end node. And that.
No, that's I think it's very important. It can help a lot with operations, which is that's a very nice visualization function that can be used. Okay, so right now I just want to stop sharing for a second and present our screen. Okay, so what we are going to talk about next is SaaS. Right, and there's been a lot of Qlik about SaaS, and that's very valid because I think it's a brilliant product. And I just wanted to mention that they're doing a lot of updates continuously with SaaS, and it's really evolved into a product that I think has a very bright future. And essentially, with the SaaS is you won't have to have or purchase any infrastructure, so you won't have any servers, and also that means you can reduce on your right. So it's like there is a lot of gain, and especially if you're a small company starting out, you can get just some SaaS licenses. They're not much more expensive than a normal enterprise license, and you get so many features. Also, updates happen on a regular basis. You won't even know the next morning you can wake up and there's a nice new update. So it's a very beneficial product to have, but it is very and it is a very new product, and it looks a little bit different, especially as you log into Qlik SaaS.
Yeah.
So what I want to do is I just want to show you that at the end of the day, it is the same product. You just looks a little bit different, and what else you can gain from it. Okay. So I'm going to present my screen again and just walk you through Qlik SaaS, and after that we can answer any questions that you might have. Okay. So if you were to log on to SaaS, this is the page that would welcome you. As you can see, I've put in my email address and my password, and I'll just log on. Hopefully it logs on first time. Okay. And this is what you are met with, a nice welcome message saying, welcome to Qlik, Matthew Krobler. And this essentially is your new hub. Now, this does look quite a bit different to what we are used to on the Windows version. But at the end of the day, I think it will be more user-friendly. So I just want to go over the top here where we've got our home page, and that's where you'll land on. If you want to quickly start any new project, you can go here. You can look at your recently updated apps, apps that you currently have, and also your data. You can plant any data you want here. Flick over to the Explore page. You've got a drop down here. So this is a new thing that's called Spaces, right? And Spaces is essentially the same as Streams in the Windows version. There's not much noticeable difference. You've got your personal one, which is obviously exactly the same as your personal workspace. And you have, I just created these two: management, which I have nothing in, and then I have product sales, which I have a few apps in. And these are your streams. And then you can also add a production stream, which is like hands off. No one can do much there. The nice thing about these, spaces. The nice thing about these shared spaces is these shared ones, its main idea was brought about having a co-developer environment to develop. And this will be very helpful because you don't have to now start moving apps back and forth between developers and assigning them to certain developers. This is designed for co-development and for like a multi-developer team, which is very useful. Then we go over here to collections. Now, collections is, let's say if I'm a specific person and I only like looking at one sort of product, I'm only focused on one product, I can create a collection for that specific product, which is beneficial only for me. So it's almost like you can create your own little categories of apps, and that can be even visualizations. You can plant visualizations straight in here if you just want to monitor them, and you can then just go straight there without having to go and find the app. We've got our standard search task, and then we've got the Ask Inside Advisor. Now, this is if you want to go straight to the nitty-gritty and you want to ask a precise question about a product, and you're not interested in anything else. You don't want to waste time looking for anything. You just want to go in straight. This here does have to be configured, but it is a quick way to get, once it is configured correctly, it is a quick way to access your data without having to or with fewer clicks. Mm-hmm. And then we've got our add new. So this here is where you can upload an app. You can upload a QVF or a QVW. You can create a new app, pretty much the same as what it was before. You can upload a data file. So that's like any sort of CSV or anything that you want to upload. And then your connections, right? The standard connections that we have. As you can see, it pretty much can connect to anything. But the big talking point is with Qlik SaaS, you actually get additional features that aren't available in the normal enterprise version, right? And with those features, you'd have to purchase additional licenses. So just like an imprint or just like a GeoAnalytics. But with the SaaS, you get the alerts. And these alerts are very valuable function. And I'll just quickly show you what you can do. So if I go here and I want to go manage my preferences, I can get alerts for many different functions. So these alerts will be, and they can be sent web, which will be when I open this app, I can get a notification saying, okay, this happened. It can be push, which is your mobile, and it can be email, but I don't have that functionality in this demo. So a very good one that I thought of was, or that I think is very important, is any app. So if an app failed, you'll automatically get a notification, and this will be very important for developers. Let's just say their app failed to reload. They'll get a notification on the spot, and it will say, okay, look here, your app failed. Or if you have any measures or performance properties that you want to track, let's just say you have, you're working in a warehouse and you have certain stock, and once it goes below a stock level, you want to be sent a notification, and it does that automatically. So you can also, the new release, you can download Qlik SaaS on your mobile, and I'll do a little demonstration. I'll do a little demonstration about how that works. So if I want to just go back to the hub, and let's just look at the app that we were talking about earlier. Let's just let it open. Okay, now, as you can see, the design of the Qlik app is identical to what it was in the previous in Qlik Windows. So you can, sorry, I actually think you can see everything remains the same. There are little, it does change a little bit, but most of it is exactly the same. Just want to see this is the right one. Okay, now I can go and click on new visualizations, but I want to quickly, before we do that, I want to quickly demonstrate to you the alerts. So if I go to my data load editor, and like I have it now, where if it fails, I'll automatically get sent a notification. So as we can see here, I'm going to quickly rerun the, okay, I've already got one. Okay, I'm going to rerun the app, and it fails. And then just to present my screen quickly, and as you can see, I get the notifications instantaneously that, look, my app has failed to reload. This pops up on your phone, on your watch, saying that it has failed. Now, this is important because everyone wants real-time data. Everyone wants it to be, if something happens now, I want to know about it. But with that, you need, with real-time data, the only reason why we want real-time data is because we want to have real-time action. Now, I'm not by my laptop all the time. I'm by my phone all the time, and I'm not by my laptop. Right? Whether it's good or bad that you're getting these notifications at any time of the day, if something does go wrong, you want to know about it. Yeah. And that's what the Qlik alert does. It says, okay, look here, something has happened. Now, please, we've given you the notification, and you can go in and investigate that. And then I just want to also demonstrate, you can also share my screen again. So also performance, you can set up an alert based on performance. So let's quickly go to analyze sheet, and I'll just quickly show you how to configure an alert. So let's just say I wanted to see sales. Go options, alerts, and we can create a new alert. Now you can make your alert as advanced as you want or as simple as you want. What we need to do is we need to select, okay, which measure are we going to select? Just want to hide that. Okay, so let's say sales. And that's what it looks like. So we can go next. Now we're going to set our condition to which it should set off the alarm. So we're going to set a measure, and let's say set it off when it's greater than, and then we're going to, or let's say set it off when it's less than 1.2 million. You can add additional conditions with an and or an or statement. But for this purpose, I will just leave it as simple as possible. So as you can see, as soon as I reload this app, it will trigger the alert and send it straight to me. You can select when you want it to be sent out, so daily, weekly, monthly, or when data is refreshed, and I'll leave that option selected. Okay, then I can create that. And this is currently the alert that I do have already configured. If I were to go back to the data load editor, rerun it, and then in a matter of seconds, I get the notification. Okay. So that's just a nice feature about the Qlik SaaS. If you do want to find out more about the pricing of Qlik SaaS and how it works, remember it's very scalable as well. So if you have a small organization and you want to hire more people, all you need to do is just add on extra licenses, and you don't have to worry about any infrastructure or any RT support. You don't have to worry about any updates that need to be made to the latest version of Qlik. This is all done exclusively on Qlik's cloud. So it reduces the management burden, and it does lower the infrastructure costs, which is very nice. And then, I mean, as customers, you guys can leverage off these scale and cost efficiencies of the cloud. Okay, so on that note, I do want to open the floor to any questions. I do see we have conversations happening here. Okay, so we have, let's just see. Okay, so yeah, that does bring us to the end of the presentation. We did want to show you the latest release. There weren't too many releases in the May 2021 edition, but there were some, so we just wanted to show you that, and some things that may have gone unnoticed in the previous releases, and then a little taste of Qlik SaaS. So yeah, if there are any questions, please feel free to ask. So, and you don't have to be shy. You can.
And one at a time, please. You know. It doesn't have to be a question. Even an addition is fine. Going once.
Okay, wait, let's see. We have Francois. Was there a question that was asked perhaps earlier?
I think it was just announcing. There we go.
Anyone might raise their hands? Not sure if it was answered. If the hand's down, hopefully it was. Yeah, so anything about any of the functions of the data?
There's a question.
What is the name? What is the name of the spider chart? Okay.
To my knowledge, I think it is called a radar.
No, I think the one that looked like a spider, or the one that you showed.
Oh, the network
yeah,
chart.
The network chart.
Okay, yeah. So that's the network chart function. That it was in the Feb 2021 May release, and so Feb 2021 release, not Feb May release, and yeah, that's essentially what it's called.
So just to show you, or just to let you know, you will find that in the you have to make sure when you I don't know if you're using a desktop version, when you download a desktop version, or you must just make sure that you install the Qlik visualization bundle. And in that Qlik visualization bundle, under custom objects, you'll find it called the network chart. So yeah, it is there. It's not the same as the stock standard charts.
Sorry,
Gents, I've got okay, that's all right.
It's Tia here. Did I understand correctly that the notifications for failure on reloads of apps, is that only available on the iCloud version?
It's not. You can have it on the enterprise version, but it's an additional license that has to be purchased. Where in the Qlik Sense SaaS version, it's included in your yearly subscription.
Thanks.
Jen, Sean, yeah, I've got a question just around the alerts. Are those, do you know if those are available inside the app? So if I download the Android app and I set specific alerts around something, is it possible to do around something like a rolling 30-day period? So of course, in the network or operations space, there's monitoring tools. But if I want to look at that trend and get updated on a 30-day period, for example, on a specific metric, can I get that alert embedded into that app and distribute it to multiple people? So what's the kind of granularity of what you can put in there and what those criteria are from the alerting point of view?
So you can, if you do want it, you can specify how often you want the alert to be set out. And I hope I'm answering your question here. It can be set out daily if you want to track certain performance. So you can get it sent out daily, monthly, weekly, or upon each reload. And that alert is specifically the one that I create in my development app is specifically for me. Now, I haven't touched the productionalized side yet, but what I'm assuming will happen is that you can have certain alerts on a production app that will then stay with that app and be sent out to specific people that you want it to be sent out to. You can also send out a specific alert to many other people. So if I wanted to create an alert, and let's say I wanted to make sure that you are informed when our stock levels have fallen to a certain level, then I can include you in on that alert, and we'll just both be sent that alert once it's been triggered.
So is that, are there multiple levels of the granularity? So what I mean is for sales, it's quite easy because you've got a sales number that drops between or below.
Yeah.
But could I put some sort of if scenario? So if a percentage of uptime is X and these three criteria are met, that generates an alert that's then sent out. So you could do at a granular level like that.
Correct. You can make that alert system as intricate as you want. You can just add measure upon measure, and it will as soon as one measure is met, one condition is met, it can go to the next one. Whether you're doing an and or a then statement, it can pop through and make sure all those conditions are met, and then only once it's done that, it will send out the notification.
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, you can add as many as you want. So
Okay, there's another question.
I guys missed the first part.
You can share the recording.
Yes, so I think as soon as you've logged on to this chat, you can you'll always have access to the video. So it will be saved onto this chat in your Teams, and then you can access it. All you need to do is just put in your email address, and you'll be able to rewatch the video. And need to check with Maresh. He isn't with us, but I also think it will be uploaded onto YouTube. So yeah, I think we can. Yeah. You can also just go view it there in the RIC, YouTube channel. So any more questions, or does everyone want to go and go test out the Qlik Sense SaaS, Qlik the notifications or the alerts?
Hi guys, how are you? You're speaking to Dennis here.
Hi Dennis.
So basically what I want to find out is that now that we have the alerts feature on there, do you think that we sort of still need to use that whole workflow system which we had to implement in order to send people to sort of like get a notification to interact with certain certain sheets within Qlik?
So did you have a system already to set in place?
Yes, we had. I think we were using within our organization, we were using sort of like smart sheets, but then now we've sort of like integrated that with Qlik Sense. But then now that I've seen the alerts, I think maybe it will make much more sense if we sort of like now that primarily just using the alerts from Qlik.
Correct. Yeah, it can definitely. There's the option that it can replace any sort of alerting system that you guys are currently using. Yeah, this is the new product. You can get a license, like I said, answer the question earlier. If you have the enterprise Qlik Sense version, or if you guys are running off SaaS, it's actually already available for you.
Okay. Thanks.
Sort of one more quick question around the org chart. Is it safe to assume I could use that org chart in any format? So it doesn't need to be people. I could potentially put customers, for example, number of devices managed, or any kind of metric in there for each of those customers, and look at that relationship, that kind of stuff.
Yes, I think all in all, it comes down to the relationship, because once you have your data structured with the node, let's say with the person, as one of the main nodes, and then device and map to a parent ID, then you can just have that connection to the other. So it works regardless of what your data set looks like.
Correct, Joe. And I mean, it's like a perfect tree structure. It will go up, and you can add measures there. So if you're looking at certain products under a product category, you can see the performance of how it's been selling. So yeah, pretty much any use case you can apply it there.
Okay, and are there any, can you put a number of ones on there? So let's say, for example, I've got a structure where I've got service delivery managers, and each of those are in that tree, but I can very quickly look at potentially 3 or 4 customers listed under them with an availability time frame or some sort of metric. So is it only one, or can you put multiple different components within each of those organogram instances? Does that make sense?
So
Actually, I think I've answered my question. No, I'm just thinking it would essentially be an extension of one. So if you had a service delivery manager, you could then add a layer below, which might be 3 or 4 different customers, and then you would show those numbers for each of them. So you've just got to build that relationship on that basis, right?
Correct.
Cool.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
It's a really nice way to visualize that very quickly to look at.
It is, yeah. No, it is. Any other functions that were spoken about, or the visualizations? So, I mean, if you have a question later on, you can just reach out to us. Like I said, just search us on LinkedIn or just send us an email. Yeah, or whatever platform suits you, you can reach out to us, and then we can assist. Okay, great, guys. I think that's all the questions. So yeah, we'll close off there. This year, the video recording will be available for everyone to view at a later stage. So yeah, great. Thanks for coming, everyone. We appreciate that you took the time out to come and listen to our webinar, and I hope you have a great day further.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Cheers, guys.
Well done, guys. That was good.
Thanks, Natasha.
Thanks, Natasha.
I'll send you my difficult questions. Okay.
Okay, perfect. I'll hand them over to Oba.
No, I'll hand over to Francois.
Kyle's got some very technical questions.
It was interesting, though.
Good job, guys. Well done.
Thanks, Francois.
Not a lot of questions, but that's often a good sign.
Yeah.
Most of them were soft.
Yeah, you know, I mean, we'll just, if they have any other questions, we can just answer them at the end or afterwards, later on.
No, but thanks for the assist, Francois. By the way, like in case of the assist. Thanks for helping.
Yeah, no, it's good. Now you guys are ready also for the next one.
Yeah, no. I certainly